This is JJ Humphrey. We're back on Elephant in the Room. Got old Bobby Cleveland with me, and we got a special guest today, Darrell Dougherty. And we've got quite a story to start off with Darrell Dougherty, and we're going to get to that in a second. But as always, we started with just a little thing we wanted to start doing because every week I like to talk about, and Bob likes to talk about a little pet peeve we have. We always have little pet peeves. So Bob today got an email about y'all never discussed the Maximus and that basically y'all been warned, you've been warned, and he sent me a copy of the law. And I mean, okay, we get it. If the guy's listening today, we get it. You got a understanding of the law. But how about instead of warning us, how about if you get off your sorry butt and go down there and do something yourself? Why is it that we have to do it? And why are you going to attack us for trying to do something? So this guy's out there kind of threatening, you've been warned, you got dirty hands, because we ain't went out there and filed, I guess he expects us to file some lawsuit against the entire government explaining what the law is. Well, guess what? If you're so smart, get out there and do that yourself. It really chaps me, Bob. It chaps me for people to tough guy on the keyboard, get out there and get you some like we're out there getting some.
Well, who are we fighting?
Well, Bob, I mean, we're fighting DOC, we're fighting DHS, we're fighting the government. We're out reporting the stuff, and that's what this guy seems to want to do. But at the same time, he wants to sit behind and give all this about this, like, and he may be a lawyer. I don't know who this is. He may be a lawyer, or he may have great knowledge. Darrell's been one of the guys for not being a lawyer. I've been extremely impressed with Darrell. I have quite a bit of legal understanding. I mean, I've been around the law business for 35 years, and there's quite often I had to stop Darrell and go, "Hey, what are you talking about?" But he's had to learn it because of his case. And so with that, we're going to get off the pet peeve. Hey, mister, quit threatening me. Whoever you are, quit threatening me. And we would appreciate it. We would love to see you get out there and win that case and get the Oklahoma state government and the federal government to follow the points of law that you are saying. Get off your butt and quit getting on us. And you go out and do something. I'll applaud you and be very, very proud to see you do something other than milly mouth me. If you're going to milly mouth me, call me up. I'll come meet you, whatever we need to do. So with that being said, hey, Darrell, it is good to have you. Bob, I know I've told you, we lost Darrell. There he is. But this week, Darrell went into jail on $1 million bond. We lost him again, Bob. But
well, it's with the phone.
I guess so. But he went in. So, Bob, here's the deal. Darrell has had for the last probably, I've known him for 4 or 5 years. He's been fighting this, even longer than that. I think 2000.
Well, hey, I got a question for you to go around rattling on. How can the government put $1 million bond on him?
Well, it wasn't the government. It was the. So your judges can set a bond. Your judges can set.
Well, is judges not government?
Yeah, but let's so for our listeners, so they understand what we're talking about, Bob. I wasn't rattling. I was letting our listeners know.
I just want to know.
Oh yeah, Bob, you said it. I'm gonna call you on it.
Well, that wasn't a good terminology.
Yeah, it hurt my feelings, Bob. I really want you to know I'm hurt. But here's what happened. I've known Darrell for probably 4 years now that we've worked together. This has been going on since 2018, Darrell?
Yes, sir.
Okay, 2018. Darrell has turned in allegations and lots of proof, not just allegations, lots of documented proof that a person is abusing his child. And he has went through the entire process, DHS, city of Stillwater, judges, police department, and it has been a nonstop. And they know that.
Darrell, how can a judge on your case right now put $1 million bond?
Oh man, you're asking me a question I can't find the answer to. But first of all, I want to tell you I've never seen the warrant. I asked for the warrant. Um, I've never seen the paperwork. I haven't been presented with the paperwork. I was put in jail without seeing the paperwork. I still haven't seen the paperwork. It's not available online. How? Um, I guess they just signed their name and
Listen, that's simple. That's simple, Bob. It's like I explained. The judge can do whatever they want. Judge can set it for 2 million. A
Well, they
judge
got to stay within the law. I mean,
no,
to
no.
get
The law is the judge. I mean, they can set it. They can say no bond. They can go, hey, you're not getting a bond, and a judge can do that. I've seen them do it. But again, when you see that, it's generally justified. You see it for a reason, and that's why our listeners need to know that Darrell's turned in all this evidence, and they have totally ignored it. Left his kid. His kid comes back recently, reports more abuse. Now, what that court is required and what the process is, they have to do a forensic interview. They have to do an exam. They have to investigate, and they have to have a hearing within 24 hours to determine where that child should be placed. Now, he came in and told them all this. They did absolutely nothing. The judge that's been kicked out of his case is the one doing all of this. And now here we come back and they issue warrant for him. He comes and turns himself in. He goes to pay the bond. The court clerk ain't even going to accept the bond. The deputy has to say, you don't accept that bond, I'm letting him walk. Because the whole deal, it's a setup deal. She accepts the bond. He leaves. He's out at 4 o'clock. And at 6:30, they turn around and issue a host of more charges and $1 million bond. And so that's kind of where we're at today. And so Darrell kind of explained why you feel like, and I'm with Bob because that's what Bob, I agree with you. I just want to let everybody know what's going on. But here's the deal. Why have they done this? We've got an idea of why they've done this. Why are they so targeting you?
well, I mean, it's clear they're targeting me because I'm one of the members of the people that are petitioning the government for a grand jury petition against these people. Um, the district attorney that signed off on this warrant for me is listed on the grand jury petition. It's illegal that she did it. There's no doubt she has a conflict. There's no way. She was notified in advance. Um, we are confident she was notified in advance. It was illegal. She was conflicted. She did it anyway. Judge Leach, who filed for the original arrest warrant on me, has been formally requested to be disqualified since April, which means he cannot proceed in my case. He has continued to sanction me, ask to have me arrested, show cause hearings, um, show assets hearings so he can seize my assets. The judge who has jurisdiction over my case, he was just recently appointed by Governor Stitt, has refused any jurisdiction in my case. He has an obligation. He's bound by the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of Oklahoma to make sure I have access to the courts. He hasn't done that. On the 28th.
Hey, can I stop you there, Darrell, for just a
Yeah.
second?
Yeah.
And me and you have talked to Judge Reese multiple times, and he has clearly said, and we've actually put this in writing. I personally wrote Judge Reese to say, I am documenting that you have a duty here and you're not following your duty, more or less is what I said. So I just want everybody to know he's been documented saying he's not going to be any part of this case. And yet he's the one who signed on the $1 million warrant, correct?
Right. Yeah. No, he continued to say he has no jurisdiction over me. He continued to say he has to be recused from me. He continued to say he has no duty to allow me into court. But then miraculously, former Speaker McCall waves into the grand jury petition an illegal request. It's illegal to notify a defendant in a grand jury petition. That you would totally, completely chill the public from exercising their vote in redress of government to allow him into the case. And he's got notice in our case. Somebody running for governor who was a former Speaker of the House has a notice in our case which will completely chill the public's desire to vote or signature on a grand jury petition. He's listed on the grand jury petition. And then I'm immediately put on $1 million bond by a judge who said he cannot enter my case. He emailed us twice and said, I cannot enter into a case with you. I'm conflicted. We have an email. He says, I'm conflicted in entering a case with you because I'm already in the grand jury case. So I cannot enter your cases. But because
then he turns around and
but,
gives you $1 million warrant.
right, but then Governor Stitt had appointed him, and clearly Governor Stitt wants him to be the next governor. And all of a sudden, I have $1 million bond. You haven't seen a rapist or a murderer in Oklahoma with that bond,
well,
ever.
And I do want to say this for public broadcast, since we're on here and a lot of people. Hey, we've named a lot of people in this grand jury. And just because you've been named on a grand jury, I've been named on a grand jury. I've had a grand jury against, well, I didn't get named. What we did was the Lane Fire Department. I was part of the Lane Fire Department. They called me in. I had to go before grand jury and the whole 9 yards. Okay, not a pleasant thing, not something you like. But guess what? I walked out there, no problem. And so the fact that somebody's named on this, it may mean that they just didn't take proper action, that we may want to know what they want. There's all kinds of reasons. So just because somebody gets named as a person of interest doesn't mean anything. It does mean some stuff. There's some stuff that we need to get to the bottom of. But I just want to make sure that everybody understands, just being named does not mean that you're automatically guilty of something or that you're boom. And then to get in this in that way really wasn't a good look. You know what I'm saying? It really was a bad move on his part, I think, what we're talking about.
Right. And, just to double down on what you're saying, I mean, Speaker McCall was Speaker over the House when my case was brought before the House and sent to him. And it was me personally, my family, in with some other families. So the look was, why didn't the House act when they had an opportunity? And he was the Speaker at the time. And now we have a new Speaker at the time, Kyle Hilbert, who's also listed on the grand jury. And it's like, why is the House not acting now? So do we expect that either one of them are going to be in prison? I can't imagine that would ever happen. That's not what we're looking at here.
I want to say, there's people acting like, hey, we're going to take this person, throw them in. No, what we're trying to do is, why is the government not addressing these issues where kids are being waterboarded, where your kids are being taken out of a house and put in what the judges know is an abusive house? That's
okay. What y'all are doing, if I hear you right, you're not asking them to. You're not accusing anybody of anything. You're just asking to be investigated. Is that correct?
Well, no. We're listing the things that if they had done these things, then they could be removed from office or they could be indicted. That's the only question. That's what a grand jury does.
But Bob, you're right. We're looking into it. We want to look into it. Why did you do this? What was the reason? Yes, an investigation into questioning into what was done. And again, I just say that, you're innocent till proven guilty. We respect that. But again, here's the deal. We got cases. Darrell, how many cases you get called on to ask for help? And do you get as many as I do,
Oh, I've had hundreds in the last year. I mean, I've had thousands over the last 20 years, but I'm not a lawyer. I can't help in their case. I can give them emotional support. I can stand next to them because, I understand they're hurt, but I'm not a lawyer.
But where I'm saying is, and Bob, you know how many I get, and you get the same thing on prisons, Bob. I know how many emails you get, constant calls. Why is our government not investigating rapes, extortions, murders? The fact that we don't have enough people to work in prisons and all those. Why is our government not, and that's what this one's about, why is our government allowing kids to be reported waterboarding, do nothing, kids being molested in the Tulsa Detention Center, which, Darrell, I think you personally went down and told them that was occurring before the feds ever raided that. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
They had knowledge. We have proof they had knowledge that this was going on.
What did the feds find?
Oh, they verified kids were being molested by the employees.
Yeah, rape,
Did they verify they
sexual
were being
battery.
waterboarded?
No,
That's a different detention facility.
Oh, okay.
The Tulsa detention facility, they verified rape, sexual molestation, sexual battery, and a slew of other just grotesque things.
But those were going on.
Absolutely.
But here's the deal.
If excuse me, JJ,
Oh, go ahead.
if they found it to be true, so what happened?
Only the individuals that were guilty of the crimes, of the sexual crimes against the kids, were ever prosecuted. The administrators who knew it was going on and covered it up were actually given promotions, raises, and bonuses. I mean, unbelievably, the director of that facility over the OJA, after that happened, was appointed over the entire Oklahoma Human Services.
So for our listeners, kind of clarify what we're talking about. Darrell goes in, others went in as well, and told them kids are being molested at your Tulsa detention center by the employees. They ignore it. They say, well, we'll take care of it. We don't want to invite the law enforcement in. We'll handle it in-house ourselves. They do absolutely nothing. Feds come in and verify it, rate it, verified it's actually going on. Now, those people who covered all that up and allowed it to continue get nothing. And the guy who was over it, when we come out and have a hearing, the DHS director, she quit the minute we come out with the hearing on all this. And they appoint the guy who was over that facility to be the head. They promote him after he's allowed that to happen. That's the kind of stuff that we're saying we want to look at on this grand jury. And why was that allowed to happen?
So what you have down there for Charles, the speaker, is because he did not do anything. Did he
interfere? Did he interfere with properly ordered law enforcement investigations of children? Did he have knowledge of abuse of children and not report? Did he abuse his authority or his power from his position? Did he, discourage other legislators, appointed officials, elected officials from protecting children? We don't know those answers. We have evidence we'd like to supply to a grand jury and let them decide whether they needed to go collect more evidence to make a decision. But we do know
who is the representative that was over DHS.
So there's a Health and Human Services committee in the Senate.
Are you talking about the chairman that was over?
Yeah.
Mark Lawson.
Who was it?
Mark Lawson, I believe, was the guy over that.
Okay, was he? Did you get he get anything?
I don't think that he was included on that. Do you know Mark's name is on that?
His name is not on that.
It is not. No.
We have no evidence that he knows or doesn't know or tried to know or didn't know. Like we do know there was communication going on with Charles McCall.
Well, and as well, one of the things that we want to call in is call in the OSBI, because the OSBI has on their front of their website saying this is how an investigation can be initiated. We followed that procedure. We initiated investigation. It says these are the things we can investigate. 3 out of 3 out of 6 of the things they're supposed to investigate was what we called for. So we have a hearing. We have our entire committee says, hey, we're going to order an investigation. The law says that if you have a committee, if the chairman and a majority of the committee order the OSBI to do an investigation, they can. We didn't just have our committee. We had other legislators, other senators sign on with us. We ordered an OSBI investigation, and that was shut down. And we are wanting to know who shut that down.
Oh,
and
okay.
that's kind of where we're at. You know what I'm saying? To say, hey, all of this stuff, and nobody, including the governor, including the AG, nobody in the world can say, "Hey, yeah, I mean this."
Well, JJ, Darrell, we have money missing at the Capitol in different agencies. Like DHS is up $60-70 million missing. OCP has around $25 million missing. And we got the case on Swadley's, and there's probably more that I can't think of off my head, but
Yes, sir.
nobody ever gets charged. No one ever has
No,
to.
absolutely not. No,
No one
our
ever gets
district
charged on anything like that.
never. I made a testimony yesterday about how much I appreciate our law enforcement officers. Our law enforcement officers, they got to deal with some scary stuff, some dangerous stuff. They're put in harm's way, but the hardest part of their job is not the people they have to arrest or secure or keep the peace. Hardest part of their job is the people with corruption above them that they have no authority over, and it makes their job dangerous because they're enforcing illegal orders. They're doing things they know they shouldn't have to do. Our law enforcement doesn't have the free reign capacity, whatever you want to say, to go prosecute the people that are committing the worst crimes in our state. And we've got to find a way to let our law enforcement loose to bring justice to the public, because you and I both know that 70 million and that 25 million and that 8 million and that 6 million and those hundreds of millions, when you add them all together, will make some people do some things they shouldn't do.
Well, what concerns me is they know the money's missing, but they don't know where it's at.
They know where
And it's millions. And Bob, like this last deal, $200 million. It's $200 million, 25 in OMES and 60 something, like you say, or whatever it was. That's just 100. I don't know where. I'd have to go back and look. But $200 million. But guess when it's from? Guess what that's from? That's COVID money.
Federal money.
Yeah, it's federal COVID money. Now, when was federal COVID money handed out?
During COVID.
During COVID. How long ago was COVID?
2013.
No, 2020.
2020.
Excuse me.
4 years. So here we are, 4 years, because again, it's the director. I think the director, and me and you talked about this, we think the Department of Corrections director resigned this week because this come out. We believe that he kind of got egg on his face and he resigned. Okay. But here's the deal. He's been at DOC for at least 3 years, maybe more than 3 years. We're going back 4 years. How in the world can you, 4 years ago? Now, here's what's even funnier. I turned that in 4 years ago to the AG. 4 years ago, I turned that in, not only to say, hey, here's 200 mil. I mean, that's a big statement. 200, where's 200? But I came in and said, this warehouse, these people provided a witness, told them how they were doing it. Guess what? Nothing at all. You ain't seen anything at all. And now 4 years later, they're coming back and go, oh, hey, we got some money missing. Well, y'all some Johnny come latelys. You know what I'm saying? It's like, wow. And you're not going to see whether we're talking.
Why is it? I mean, this is getting off the record, I guess, is what our subject matter is. But why is it that no one never gets found guilty? Why did Swadley's? How long that's been? No one's never. There's nothing happened. Nothing. Just kind of washed it to the side.
Who should investigate Swadley's?
I guess it'd be the OSBI.
Who appoints the director of OSBI?
The governor.
And who chose Swadley's to get all that money?
The tourism.
Winchester. Governor's appointment.
Who appointed the tourism? You start asking enough questions, you find your answers, right?
It all leads back to the same place. It all comes back. And again, if you have one thing, you go, okay, he may just pick some bad.
Well, why would the governor cover up an incident at DHS? Why? Make him look bad? Was that the
Who appoints
reason?
who appoints the director of DHS?
The governor
Who covered up the issue at DHS?
who covers it, the
The
governor.
director. The director. So
Oh,
I
the
mean,
director.
you
Yeah,
can only have so many fires burning at one time, right? When all of your directors are guilty of everything you see on TV, that's a hard spot to be in.
but the directors all
Especially
quit. They all quit.
they, they were replaced with people to cover their smoke.
But
Well, Bob,
they
they quit.
quit. But there's still no answer to why it happened.
But Bob, they quit, and it's like all of a sudden, if you think about Harp, look at all the problems Harp was having. And I used to laugh, and you've heard me say this. Well, they had to sneak old Harp out the back door in the middle of the night to get it shut down. And the minute they did that, guess what? It's like, oh, everything's fixed because we got rid of Harp, and we're not going to look anymore. Kind of we find $43 million in their budget for a raise. No, we found 280 million, but they're like, JJ, just shut up and take your 43 and go home and just shut up and leave the 280 alone. Why? And again, where is the 280 million that we were able to prove? You're padding $80 million a year. Where is it? And we looked at 3 years. That's 240 million. Where is it?
But the buck stops at where? Where's the buck stop at?
That's what we're trying to do with this grand jury.
The governor, the AG, the Supreme Court. That's where the buck stops.
Okay. And so, what would be the reason all this is going on and they're not doing anything about it? Is it because they don't want it? I know they tried to shut JJ down and investigating it, but why? Why would they do it? I mean, why would all these people do this? Let's go on there.
I'm willing to bet you that everyone you've heard had to resign over the last few years, whether it was DHS or the Department of Corrections or DHS again. I'm willing to bet that all of them are making more money today than they were when they were working for the government. Anybody want to bet me on that one?
Well, I can name it. In fact, I sent in a request to DHS to ask the other day when some kids were put into one of these programs. The parent had to get into a program. They forced them into one of these programs. And so I called up and I said, I want to know, does the former director, Deborah Shropshire, does she own the company? Does she have interest in the company? Is she related to the company that you're using to force all of these people to go in and get this kind of training? And guess what answer I got?
Nothing.
Wouldn't even respond back to me. And that's
Okay, but she had to resign, correct?
she did. I don't know that she had to, but when we came out with the hearing on DHS that they fought us so much on, Darrell, was that week that she resigned, or was it?
It was a little bit after that, yes.
So we come out with all this evidence, and I mean that quick she's gone. And
right.
So, I'm told that Justin Brown, the first governor's appointment, who was a disaster, I was told that he does have a company gathering data. Again, I can't prove all this, but that's what I'm told. Be interested, kind of to Darrell's point. That's what we're hearing. I mean, I hear that.
Okay, so basically the bottom line is, I mean, I don't know anything. I don't know this much about the case, but I'm learning a whole lot more than I knew. But I've heard y'all talk about it, but I didn't pay attention to it. So,
Bob, you got to start paying attention.
Well, I could get bits and pieces from you, your conversations with somebody. But so what we're trying to do is find out who is you. You don't even know if it's stuff's really happening, right?
I'm fairly confident I know what stuff is happening. I mean, I wouldn't put my name on something if I didn't have the evidence to look into some of it.
Okay, so you have the evidence that is actually happened. So now, did they know that you know?
Oh yes, we always. I'm somebody that always tells somebody before I do something. I ask them, can we correct this? We don't need to. This shouldn't be a fight. We should all be on the same team. I think Representative Humphrey can tell you I'm I'm very forthright. I speak, what I believe to be the truth, and I ask somebody to tell me if I'm wrong before I ever take action. You look at the lengthy requests for action to the court, lengthy email exchanges that I always make sure are fully,
But
non-information.
all of yours is just to investigate these that's going on.
This is what I'm talking about. Yeah, no, I
That's
mean,
all it is.
yeah.
Well,
So,
but now let me stop you, Darrell, for just a second, though, Bob. Darrell has proven he's got, and Bob, just so you know, you'll appreciate this. First time I met Darrell, comes into office, he's telling me stuff, and I said, that's just too much to believe. I said, I got to call my lawyer. And he said, who's your lawyer? And I'm dialing up. And I said, oh, it's no boy you don't know. I said, it's a guy named Stanmore. And he laughed. He goes, well, that's my lawyer, but he got blood cancer and he had to get out of my case. And I said, that is. And about that time Stan gets on there, this is what Stan tells me. He says, JJ, whatever that man says, it's 100% true. Whatever he tells you is true. And he said, JJ, you're pretty good at collecting documents and proving stuff. But he said, that man's better than you. He's the most, he said, he's better than anybody else I've ever seen collecting documents. He said, whatever he needs, you help him. And I said, okay, Stan. And that's, since that day, we have been, I've never looked back and I was like, okay, what do you need? Let's go. This guy right here, Darrell, has got evidence that his kids have been abused. He's got evidence that they know that he's been abused. He's got evidence that they knew it and put that kid back in harm's way. And I'm talking about massive. And then we've got evidence that Tulsa Detention Center happened, but not just evidence that happened, evidence we told them before it happened and they ignored it. We've got evidence that we've told them of other places since then and they've ignored it. We've got evidence that whistleblowers came forward and we told them and they've ignored
it. Okay. Did you go to Lawson at all ever in the whole situation, or you just went to the pro tem?
Did I ever go to what?
Well, I'm asking JJ.
Oh,
yeah. When you was doing this investigation, looking at all the stuff you wanted to have investigated, did you go to the representative that's in charge of DHS?
No. What we did was we sat down and met with the law firm and some other investigators who put together a 350-page report. We had them send that report to the governor, to the AG, to the Speaker of the House, to the pro tem, to the head of the agencies. We waited 60 days for them to take appropriate action. They sent me the same report after 60 days, and then I jumped up and said, we're going to have a hearing. And then we went to documenting how all of these people refused or tried to stop us from having hearings or tried to interfere with or wouldn't give us information. And again, then we presented not just Darrell's case, but we presented 3 other cases that are equally troubling as Darrell's. And again, we've had other hearings that we presented with Darrell's case, the Wooley's case, all of these cases that we presented that they've done absolutely nothing and refused to take action. And Bob, what you're talking about, you're asking some awfully great questions, good questions.
Hold on,
JJ.
Could I interject one thing?
Wait just a second, Darrell. I want to hear this, what he just said again. I don't know if I heard him correctly. What did you say, JJ?
I said you are asking great questions. And the deal is, you're talking about motive. You're talking about motive, Bob. And we agree. What is there? I will tell you, I know some of it, but it's mind-boggling. Go ahead, Darrell.
I'm just asking this question, Darrell. Is this gotten so big, out of control, that nobody wants to touch it?
The answer is yes, and I want to start with your original question.
Yeah.
We did present this to the Health and Human Services in the state Senate, and we had multiple senators in that committee that asked for it to come before that committee, and it was denied. We did have this presented to the Human Services Committee in the House, and we had multiple representatives in that committee asking to have it brought before that committee, and it was denied. I personally went into all their offices and signed into their sheets. I can tell you dozens of times There is no way I would have ever brought this if we hadn't done our due diligence. So the answer to your first question is yes, this has been before everyone has had options of this. And if you want to see an example of that, when I decided to whistleblow on Dr. Shropshire, it went to every committee member in every committee that had anything to do with Oklahoma DHS. And I actually got private messages from many of those legislators and senators going, hey, you put me in a bad spot because you included me in that email. So did we reach out to them? 100%. Is this too big to address inside of our government? It's not. It's not if the right person would accept their bounden duty by the Constitution to do their job. The governor at any time could fix all of this within 6 months. The attorney general, the attorney general at any time could fix all of this within 6 months.
Stop right there. Now the attorney general is running for office.
Mm-hmm.
Looks like to me it would be on his favor to do something.
That puts me in a bad spot on TV. On live camera. We have internal email communication with his number one prosecutor, Galen Geiger, that would say he's conflicted.
How could it be conflicted?
You can be conflicted by having a family member that's involved in some of this. You could be conflicted by deciding that you disengaged for the wrong reason. I might be careful what I say.
He could be conflicted as he could be involved in some of this. He could actually have involvement into the case where he failed to act or where he failed to do his due diligence in anything. There's a lot of ways he could be super conflicted. He is conflicted. We can prove that. And at the end of the day, that's the whole deal, Bob. We've run the gamut of going to everywhere we can. And here's the thing, having to do to the measure that we've had to do to try to get this done, that's it's shameful that we would have to go through all of this when we're begging. What we're begging for is stop abuse on children. Stop taking the children wrongfully out of homes. Stop putting them in abusive homes. When we see abuse, act correctly, act right, train the people correctly, get enough help down there. We're broken. We're broken. Fix the problem. That's what we want.
Well, I heard Speaker McCall say in one of his one time he was speaking recently that DHS is broken. We've got to get in there and change it. We got to get something done.
Yeah. We also have him saying it's too big of a problem to fix, right? So I don't want to stick my nose in there. The same thing that the Attorney General has responded in emails to our senators.
Okay, but if that's too big, I mean, I understand now what you're doing here. I didn't really get it all. What you're getting for, you're going for you've gone tried to get it to in some counties to get the
grand jury petition by signature of the public. Yep.
And that didn't work.
Oh, that's going to work.
I'm sorry?
That's absolutely going to work.
What I think, Bob, what you're talking about, we went to Oklahoma City and it didn't happen. We went to Garfield, it didn't happen. We went to Tulsa, it didn't happen. We went to Grady County, it didn't happen. They went to Wagner County, it didn't happen. And the reason these places it's not happening is because you can't get the proper number of people to sign to get the petition. It's a pretty good number. And I will tell you this, in Wagner County, if you went over there in Wagner County, in fact, I've got an interview here in a minute with the News Channel 8, that you have a DA over there that goes in and argues these numbers when he's on the petition. He shouldn't be arguing. That'd be like charging him with murder, and then he's going to be the guy trying the case. That ain't no good. I mean, that's insane. And then
that's crazy.
That's crazy. But then when the judge rules in his favor, he turns around and calls the AG and says, I want these people who had the audacity to get together and get this grand jury and say all of this is wrong. I want them investigated. And then turned around, the federal court just ruled in a case on a wrongful death on officers in his county. And this was one of the things that was on this grand jury, that he came along and said, nope, it's justified. There's nothing to see here. He said that. Now, the federal government in the federal court just said, that ain't true. He's wrong. And they even went as far as take the qualified immunity from the officers, saying the officers could be charged with murder in this case. Now, he just come out and told the AG, I want these people investigated for lying. And the federal court just said, he's lying. And guess what? Nothing's being done. And he's doing it to intimidate people. We had the Tulsa County DA go in where they were collecting signatures, which is illegal, and threaten people. Or allegedly threatened, let's say allegedly. But again, if you go down to Garfield, they're in there collecting signatures. A person comes in, grabs the signature deal, goes out there and sets it on fire, burns the signature sheet. Now, illegal as all get out. What did they do to them? To my knowledge, they've done nothing. So guess what? We're not being able to get these because people are being intimidated. People are being threatened. People are being arrested and charged with $1 million bond. And they're being charged. Now get this, and I don't think we drilled down on this a while ago when Darrell said this. Darrell, correct me if I'm wrong. You said that the district attorney who put together the charges that they charged you and arrested you on $1 million bond was named in that petition. Did you not say that?
That's correct. 4 crimes similar to that. But, before that, I was arrested earlier in the day on an order from a judge who's listed on the petition. Then I was released and I was prosecuted for another warrant on $1 million bond by the district attorney who's listed.
How much did that cut? What's $1 million bond? What do you have to really produce?
$100,000 plus a bonding agent that has the capacity of $1 million, which doesn't exist.
Pretty tough. But how long did you have to stay in jail, Darrell?
I only had to stay in jail, about, I don't know what it would have been.
Did you get your medication while you was in there?
No, I never did. I got to feeling pretty bad with my heart. But
how about your phone call? Did you get any phone call?
I ended up getting some phone calls, yes, sir. But I had a privilege of some really nice guys in there that helped me do that.
So it's inmates helped you. It wasn't nobody else helped you.
Well, eventually I got phone access.
But now let me ask you a question. So you said one of the judge that put your original charges, your first charges. Mm-hmm. And that's the charges where you turned yourself in. Kudos to the deputy. We do want to say there's been a lot of great people in law enforcement. Awesome. And I want to shout out to you officers in Stillwater PD, you officers there, and the deputies that are in Payne County. Man, all of y'all have been very, very awesome. Y'all been super nice. You've been helpful. I just, what we're wanting to make sure is that those police those officers, boots on the ground, know how much they're appreciated. Super good guys. And so
who's got dirty hands, in your opinion?
Judge Leach. I'm going to name the name, Judge Leach. And you'll notice I don't use very many names, okay? Y'all notice I say DA or I say this one or I say that one. I'll go ahead and call this crackerhead out, okay? Not no problem. So here's the deal. Has he not been kicked out of your case? Help me out here. What's the status of him in your case?
Well, he has actually officially been removed by Judge Canavan, who's over the what's called North Central Administrative District of our area of judges. But Judge Canavan has not formally announced that in the case. So on April 29th, I did a formal request for Judge Leach to be disqualified. By law, he cannot proceed in my case until that decision has been made. That decision has not been made. which meant the lead judge in our county, Judge Reese, had a bounden duty to make sure I had access to the courts by the Constitution of Oklahoma and the Constitution of the United States. He chose not to give me access to the courts. Judge Canavan did appoint Judge Bandy out of Newkirk, I believe on like the 18th of this month. So I waited for Judge Bandy. Judge Bandy, I believe I was notified he recused 2 days later. I spoke with Judge Canavan again about a week later, and he said if I'll bring him the proof of Judge Leach denying my request for disqualification, he would get me a new judge. The problem was Judge Canavan didn't understand that Judge Leach wasn't a Payne County judge. Judge Reese was. And Judge Reese has never given me a denial on my disqualification. What that does is it means I do not get a judge for 4 months, which means I have a rogue judge, Judge Leach, who knows he cannot proceed in my case, just continues to proceed in my case.
Okay, let me ask you a question. Now, I understand how the state trying to cover this up. I mean, I get that because it goes on all the time. Why is the press not picked up on this?
I think the press is starting to pick up on this.
Well,
They have done it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was on Fox News last night. It'll be on your news stations. It was on, I believe, 4 last night.
23 had it on, I know, because they were there at.
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't see any of those.
More amazingly than that is your online press has picked up on it. There have literally been hundreds of thousands of online press visits and views recognizing this situation. And we're just in Payne County, Oklahoma. It's there.
Well, and
The Tulsa Ward or the Oklahoma that neither one of those guys have done anything.
Well, and I can tell you this, when we had that interview the other day where some of the press did show up, I had reached out to quite a few press people, and most of them responded and said, well, we've already done the Darrell Dougherty story. We've already been told Darrell Dougherty's story. I'm like, hey, y'all, Benson, you better hop on again and look at this. And now they're just finding out about, that, hey, he got $1 million bond and this has all been done. And so now it's really picking up. We've got some people in the United States that's starting, some big players in the United States that stand up for this kind of stuff that are actually looking at this case and talking about getting involved. That'll be huge. That'll be massive if that happens. So I'm excited.
I don't think she'd mind if I said this. Payne County is in our own little world here. Tulsa kind of has their world, and Oklahoma City has their world. We're kind of forgotten up here in the middle. But in Payne County, there are people that care about this and are working on this. And the vast majority of our churches, businesses are making a stand on this. Kristen Gundy is actually hosting a drive and sign to collect signatures at 6th and Main, smack dab middle of downtown Stillwater today. So gracious for her. Our downtown businesses are collecting signatures. The public has appropriately informed themselves and has engaged themselves and has started to act in this redress of government, which is the grand jury by petition of signatures. And understandably, anybody on that list would not want to be investigated for indictment or removal from office, but it looks like it's going to happen.
Well, and just because they're on that list, I mean, they may have something where they walk in and say, hey, this is why I did this. This is why I did this. We acted appropriately. And again, we don't know because they won't tell us. And again, we're asking for help. We're asking for help, and we get no help. And kids are being waterboarded. Kids are being molested. Kids are being set. Darrell's kid. And again, these judges, and Darrell, I just want to kind of wrap up because what you said a while ago was a whole lot to kind of take in of who got disqualified and who got what. So basically, you requested that Judge Leach get disqualified. And when you request that, until somebody says he's not disqualified or he is disqualified, then he can't act in your case. He is stopped from acting until that's addressed.
Right. So, right. The lead judge, District Judge Jason Reese, either has to say disqualified or denied.
But he hasn't done that.
He has not done that. If he
Now,
says disqualified, then Judge Leach is out. If he
that's
says
all he's got to
denied,
say. All
right.
he got to say is he's in or out, and
But
that
if he
takes care of a lot of this problem.
but if he says denied, I have 5 days to bring it before the North Central Judicial District, and it's still formally requested.
Right.
If that judge disqualifies, then he's out. If
But
that judge says, if
he
that
should
judge sa-
he shouldn't be ruling in anything in your case, though.
no,
Let's
if
get
that
that clear. He shouldn't
right,
be coming into your case. He shouldn't have anything to do with your kids' stuff that's going on right now. He
nothing.
shouldn't be issuing warrants for you. He is out of your case until somebody rules, correct?
Right, but if the North Central Judicial District judge denies my request, I still have 5 days to appeal to the Supreme Court. All of my due process has been denied in this situation. He cannot proceed. He has proceeded, and the authorities over him know it, and they're allowing him to do it. Not only that, they have now become collusive with him. They have become collusive with him in
Exactly.
engaging in
That's
this.
what I wanted. So the first step, you're going through all these other steps, but the first step is go right in there to Judge Reese's office, who has been put over this grand jury. That kind of complicates the little thing. But all he's got to do is rule on this. And if he ain't going to rule on it, he's got to kick it to the next judge above him and say, I'm gonna send it to you. He's done neither. The next judge above him is saying, well, it ain't my choice because he's got to do this. And now you got them back and forth going, no, it's your choice. No, it's your choice. Nobody's made the choice. The guy who can't act is acting and has sent your kid back into harm's way. And he's done it.
No, actually, he's not the one that did that. It was actually Judge Reese that did that. You can see online. I haven't got my warrant, but it was definitely the district attorney and Judge Reese. Now, I do want to say this very publicly, okay? In order to ask for a disqualification of him as an associate judge, I have to go to the lead district judge and ask for disqualification, okay? Judge Leach, who's an associate judge, entered as the lead district judge and denied his own disqualification. Okay. When that happened, the district judge still refused to do his job. And so I made a disqualification request in the North Central Judicial Administrative District of Judge Canavan. At that time, Associate Judge Leach entered into the North Central Administrative District as the administrative district lead judge and denied his own disqualification again. All that's on OCN. It's mind-blowing. That should be impersonating an officer of the court, a judge of the court that he's not. The guy should not be on the bench. That's my opinion. I'm not an attorney, but anybody who would act in that manner should be. I mean, if you're a captain and you pretend to be the sheriff, is there
Yeah.
retribution for that?
So, I'm going to read this. This is big. It's a huge deal, right?
This big.
Probably the biggest thing that we've had going on here ever, maybe.
It's the most explosive and obvious and open and transparent I've seen. And it's not me doing it, it's them.
Okay, but I'm saying it's a big deal. So nobody wants to take it on because it's too much trouble or it's too big a deal. I can't do it. You know, they're probably passing the buck to somebody else. But
right. Or
bottom line is the governor is the head. I mean, he can make some decisions, and he hasn't either.
Well, you also have the Office of Judicial Oversight that should be overseeing these judges, and I've been very transparent about my complaints with them, and they have told me they have no responsibility in this matter. Absolutely stunning. I actually emailed JJ a week ago with evidence of what this judge is impersonating 2 higher judges and making decisions in 2 higher courts that he has no jurisdiction over, and I've received nothing back. I received nothing back, and then I got put in jail.
And I've been to the Supreme Court with you, and I have actually entered stuff in myself into these things. And at the end of the day, Bob, I don't think anybody really realizes how big this is. and I know people are thinking, oh, JJ's targeted. I've been called out. I mean, I've been called out in this. I mean, there's already been court filing calling me out, calling me shameful and everything else. I'm unashamed of what I did. This is big. I don't have a personal agenda against anybody. People are mad because I don't pick up the phone and call them. It's my understanding I can't do that, whether I can or can't. It's my understanding I'm not supposed to do that. But at the end of the day, this is not just about DHS and about the wrong. I think we all know DHS. Have you heard anybody say DHS is doing a great job? Everybody knows DHS is busted. They got money missing. What's funny, we got this state auditor coming.
$65 million of government money.
Yeah, but Bob, they got another $100 million. Go back and look on my Oklahoma Dodge report. I'm like, hey, where's this $100 million? They ain't even hitting the current stuff of this year. They're missing $100 million.
That's on their budget, though. Is that correct?
What's that? That was on their budget on child care, I think. If I'd have to go back and look. But
that wasn't government money.
But the thing about it is it's not just DHS. This is about the Oklahoma court system.
Right.
This is a cabal. This is the district attorney's office. If you look at the district attorney down in Payne County, not Payne County, Potawatomi and Lincoln just came out with saying, hey, he listed a whole deal of what we're saying on all this. This is broken. It needs looked at. He begged the AG to start a multi-county grand jury. There was 4 or 5 of us legislators wrote in after him and said, we agree with what he's doing. And then to make it worse, I don't know if y'all paid attention to this, but the Supreme Court just ruled on Judge Mueller down there. And guess what? Everything that he was saying, they just found her guilty of misconduct, judicial misconduct, all kinds of stuff. Her bailiff come out and said, spilled the beans on her. I mean, so what we're saying is
this the judge that was being rude to people?
Yes, and
overly rude.
And well, not just rude, but closing cases, dismissing cases, not hearing cases. So if she's mad at you or just mad at your lawyer, you're
all
not
right. All right, before we go, JJ, we're gonna have to get off here. I just asked you this question: where are we at on it? Are we anywhere?
Signatures. We got to have signatures before we get off. I'm gonna give Darrell the last word before we get off. But I want to beg everybody who lives in Payne County, please get into Darrell's. Please find somebody with one of these petitions. Get your name on it. You have to be a registered voter of Payne County. Get your name on it. Guys, this is not a partisan. This is not Democrat, Republican. This is right. This is wrong. This is not us hating on any one legislator. This is about children. This is about our state. This is about getting things corrected. Darrell will give you the last word.
Man, thank you so much. Yeah, we've got about 8 days left before we got to turn in these signatures. We need all the signatures we can get. I'm at 524 South Main Street in Stillwater, Oklahoma. If you live in Payne County, Oklahoma, and you're a registered voter, come sign our signature sheets. Come take a packet, get your family and friends to sign. If you don't live in Payne County and you know somebody lives in Payne County, you call them, you tell them. You won't be hard to find the information. We have hundreds of thousands of social media visits and views that show where you can sign these, who you can sign these. Dozens of businesses in several cities around our county that are collecting these signatures. Our churches, our community members, our leaders, they're all collecting the signatures. Let's get this done. It's the right thing to do. If you're on the petition, come sign the petition. Come carry a packet. If you don't believe you've done anything wrong, let's get this cleared up and get it over with. We need the signatures. This is going to show what's going on. I will say, if you're willing to put $1 million bond on me, you probably don't want us to get the signatures. But that was your choice to do that, not mine. I'm going to get the signatures because I need to protect my family, my son, my other kids, and all the other kids in Payne County. So please come help us.
Darrell, we appreciate you. Bob, I'm going to tell you, this is going to shock you. Very good questions. And I always like to have somebody who's not quite as close to it. You did an awesome job asking questions today. I think we've got the people informed. as to what we're trying to do. And again, this is nothing personal. There's people on this thing that I know and I like, and I wish they weren't on there, but this is something we had to do. And this is something about way bigger than any of us. This is going on in Oklahoma. We got to get it done. Y'all have a blessed day. Get out there and sign those signatures.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.